The Blackrock Bitcoin story has exposed what I believe is a massive corruption scandal and a plot by the banker class to try to corner the Bitcoin market so that they can manipulate the prices to their own advantage. The entry of Blackrock into the Bitcoin world, while on the one hand is a big signal that institutional money is here in a massive way and will bring trillions of dollars to the market. On the other hand, it is a power play by global elites, and the more you learn, the more you understand, the more you realize that this is a foul and stenchy, dark, deep rabbit hole which we're about to climb into. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. My name is Lark. I make videos on investing. If you do like that topic, then please subscribe to the channel and give that thumbs up button just a little bit of love. So why are we talking about Blackrock again? Well, they just announced they're launching a Bitcoin trust for institutions, which will likely act like a vacuum, just sucking Bitcoin off of the markets. Remember the math. Remember the math. We talked about this the other day. Just a 4.6% allocation by Blackrock would buy every single Bitcoin in existence. Just 0.5% of their money will buy every single Bitcoin currently listed on exchanges. It's happening right now. The big game is afoot. The power play for the control of the Bitcoin supply is underway by the world's most powerful and most nefarious asset managers. What you need to understand is that the game is rigged, and companies like Blackrock and their Wall Street crony buddies over at companies like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, they're the ones rigging the game. Don't believe me? Check out this headline. JP Morgan has been basically scamming everyone for years when it comes to the metals markets by manipulating the prices of metals. They've done it so many times. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We could go on a whole tangent of JP Morgan and Wall Street corruption. Blackrock, of course, has also had its fair share of financial scandals, along with major players like Goldman Sachs. Well, these are all different and essentially competing entities. They also all work together to achieve the same goal, primarily that of being able to corner, manipulate, and control every single market they can. Remember, Blackrock is a top 3 holder of basically every stock in the S&P 500. Their influence is incredible. But what does all that have to do with Bitcoin, Lark? Well, I'm glad you asked, internet person. You see, the person tasked with overseeing the mess of regulating big entities like Blackrock and, of course, approving things like new Bitcoin products is a man named Gary Gensler. Guess where he used to work? Goldman Sachs. I bet once he leaves office, he will again work at a top Wall Street firm, Goldman or JP or Blackrock, as a high-paid board member, and he even gets to then go and give high-paid speeches at these firms. That's how he cashes in on his corruption, and he is corrupt by helping these big players rig the system in their favor. But how exactly is this corruption playing out? It's all transparent, it's all in plain sight. How is Gary helping Wall Street rig the market? Well, let's look at some of the recently approved Bitcoin ETF products. Well, the first one was a futures ETF linked to CME Bitcoin futures, which are complete garbage, paper backed by nothing. Not a single Satoshi of real Bitcoin is involved. Just paper garbage. Remember, Gary said you cannot have a spot Bitcoin ETF because it's too dangerous for you, which is exactly why you should only be allowed to trade futures contracts. It's a joke, a bad joke. What about the long Bitcoin ETF that was launched? Well, that was funny. Guess when they brought that out? Great timing. Almost exactly when the price of Bitcoin hit $69,000, that's when they brought the ETF to long out. And then a few months later, Gary's SEC approved a Bitcoin short ETF. And guess when they did that? Almost at exactly the bottom. This is how the SEC protects regular investors, by getting them to long the top and short the bottom. It's a scandal, a criminal scandal, but that's what bankers do. It's all just part of the plan of making sure that you own nothing and they own everything. And remember to smile, because you are supposed to be happy about all of this happening, right? Now that leads us on to the main topic of today, the approval of Blackrock's Bitcoin trust. But before I break that topic down for you, I'm just going to interrupt the flow real quick to let you know about my newsletter, Wealth mastery. And this is a cryptocurrency investor report where we find opportunities for you in the market. We talk about NFTs, altcoins, DeFi, airdrops, much, much more straight to your inbox. Sign up to our value-packed newsletter using the link down below in the description. Okay, so the Blackrock Bitcoin Trust. This is the green light for Blackrock to be able to acquire huge sums of Bitcoin. This lets them fill their bags before the vast majority of investors are able to do it, which is a similar thing we've seen with other major financial players doing, including, of course, JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, who both offer institutional investors or big money investors the ability to buy Bitcoin. Remember, the ultra rich can buy spot Bitcoin investment products. That's exactly what the Blackrock Trust is. Well, you are given table scraps in the form of futures products. And a spot Bitcoin ETF, it's good enough for the Canadians, it's good enough for the Brazilians, but Americans have to be protected by Gary Gensler from Goldman Sachs. You might be asking, well, why? Why is a spot Bitcoin ETF actually important? Because many people, they're perplexed by crypto. It's a big learning curve. They don't have time. They want exposure, but they don't want to download a wallet. They don't want to manage private keys, right? They want somebody to make it damn easy for them to invest in. They want a fully regulated product like a spot Bitcoin ETF, which makes putting, Bitcoin in the retirement account, for example, super freaking easy. Surveys have shown that the majority of investors are not going to buy Bitcoin until they can do so via a Bitcoin ETF, via their broker and via a respected ETF product. We've seen these launch already. Canada, for example, has launched theirs, but they only have 2% of the global stock markets. America's around 53%, meaning that when a spot Bitcoin ETF is approved, the price of Bitcoin is going to moon mega hard. That's over half the world's equity market value that can now have access to Bitcoin. And I just have a guess of when we're going to see a spot Bitcoin ETF approved. My guess is at the top of the next market cycle. Next time Bitcoin reaches an all-time high, letting BlackRock and company unload their bags on retail, crash the markets down again, buy everything back up on the cheap, rinse and repeat until they own everything and you own nothing. Yes, BlackRock is coming to Bitcoin. It's a big deal, but let's keep it straight. BlackRock is not your friend. This is a real estate grab. This is a power play to control markets. If they have it their way, they will own all the Bitcoins and they will be very happy. You probably not so much. Thankfully, the majority of the supply is currently in the hands of long-term holders. But make no mistakes, they are coming for your Bitcoin. And the corrupt SEC will do everything in their power to make sure that BlackRock has a wide lane to manipulate markets to achieve that exact goal. Anyway, just my 2 Satoshis. Do you agree it's all a big corrupt game of Wall Street manipulation? Or have I got it wrong? A little bit too far down the rabbit hole today, Lark? Let me know down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.